Over the last 24 years, Pixar has introduced us to movies and to characters that stay in our hearts long after the credits roll. But which of their movies are the best of the best? It's time to count down the top 10 Pixar movies. Before we get into the list, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Sarah's Scoop. Number 10, Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 was Pixar's third movie and first sequel. It picks up right where the original Toy Story ended and takes us on a new adventure with Woody, Buzz, and the gang. We get to leave Andy's neighborhood and venture out into the rest of the world, which makes this movie feel bigger. It also introduces us to Jessie the Cowgirl and Bullseye. Number 9, Up. Up has one of the most effective opening scenes in film history. In the span of 5 mostly silent minutes, we are treated to a montage detailing the lives of Carl and Ellie as they grow from childhood friends to an old married couple. We see the highs and lows of their lives unfold before our eyes, and even though we don't really know them, the feelings are all too real. The movie sets its bar too high at the jump, and nothing that follows quite lives up to the beginning. Nonetheless, we later get to meet Russell, a young Boy Scout whose friendship with Carl is heartwarming to say the least. Number 8, Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo tells the story of Marlin, a clownfish, who is trying to track down his son Nemo after he is taken from the ocean by a fisherman. Along their journeys, we get to meet an array of colorful fish, both in personality and in physicality. Most prominently, we meet Dory, who is as forgetful as she is loyal. Being set in the ocean, Finding Nemo has beautiful scenery to surround its memorable characters. Number 7, Monsters, Inc. Mike and Sully are two monsters who live in Monstropolis and work at Monsters Incorporated, where they have been trained to scare children in the real world in order to power Monstropolis. This comes to a halt when one of the children accidentally follows them back to their world, and the two monsters have to get her back to her room without getting caught. Monsters, Inc. does something that Pixar had not really done before then. Unlike the Toy Story movies or A Bug's Life, which were based in some reality, Monsters, Inc. creates an entire world of its own. Monstropolis is full of colorful, vibrant, and unique characters that lay the foundation for the setting of the movie. Number 6, Toy Story 3. Completing Pixar's first trilogy is Toy Story 3, coming out 15 years after the original movie was risky. Just like Andy, the audience that originally grew up with the series had grown up. Fortunately, the third movie is perfect for people of all ages. There are laughs that are funny regardless of age, but also emotions that are universal, which make the film even more impactful. Setting Toy Story 3 in a daycare allows us to be introduced to a number of new characters to continue opening up the world we already know and love. Number 5, The Incredibles. Almost 10 years after their first movie, in 2004, Pixar released The Incredibles, their first story about humans. In typical Pixar fashion, these aren't just ordinary humans, though. The Parr family has superpowers, super strength, speed, stretch, and you name it, they got it. Despite their abilities, they have been living as an ordinary family until the father, Bob, decides to get back in the game. Although it is not always in the conversation, The Incredibles is a perfect superhero movie. Full of action, laughs, and a lot of heart, it is also a perfect Pixar movie. Number 4, Coco. Pixar's most culturally inclusive film. This movie, more than any other that Pixar has released, made me cry for both happy and sad reasons. Coco is a beautiful film, both visually and narratively, about death and what comes after it, which makes for a truly cathartic experience. It features unforgettable imagery to depict the afterlife and music that celebrates an entire culture that is rarely represented in film. Number 3, Inside Out. After taking a year off, Pixar came back in 2015 with Inside Out. Inside Out gives a look at the inside of our minds and how our emotions work. Featuring superb voice work from Amy Poehler as Joy, Phyllis Smith as Sadness, and Bill Hader, Mindy Kaling, and Louis Black as Fear, Disgust, and Anger, respectively, Inside Out uses these characters to explain feelings in a way that we have not seen depicted on screen. Keeping with the Pixar tradition, Inside Out balances the humor and emotional pull, but does it better than any of the movies that came before or after it. Number 2, Ratatouille. By far Pixar's most underrated film to date. Ratatouille tells the story of a rat named Remy who lives in Paris and has the dream to become a chef. Remy forms a partnership with Linguini, a kitchen worker who acts as Remy's hands in the kitchen. Ratatouille uses food, music, and imagery to evoke an ever-present sense of nostalgia. Just like our favorite soup on a cold winter's day, this movie is perfect comfort food. Number 1, Toy Story. Pixar's first and Pixar's best. Toy Story is short, simple, and sweet. It is not as mature, nor is it as inventive as some of the movies that came after it. Nonetheless, it is a perfect movie. From the moment Randy Newman's unforgettable song You've Got a Friend in Me begins to play, we know that we are in for a good time. Woody and Buzz Lightyear are the quintessential odd couple and are perfectly voiced by Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, respectively. There's no shortage of lovable characters, quotable lines, or memorable moments. It perfectly set the stage for what was to come from the studio and spawned 3 sequels. Because of all of that and more, Toy Story is Pixar's best movie. Do you agree with our list? Think we might have missed one that should have been here? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to visit sarahscoop.com. Thanks for watching!